the sixth round of fixtures of the Premier League were done, and there is one big talking point, and that's Manchester United and Erik Ten Hag. Obviously, we'll be getting into that, but we'll keep that right at the end. These are the other five talking points that we wanted to discuss. We'll obviously go match by match, and the first thing we wanted to talk about is Chelsea's uh, really incredible win over Brighton, and it's all thanks to Cole Palmer. I mean, 4 goals
Yeah.
in the first half alone. I think that's the first time it's ever happened in the Premier
Yes.
League. He got a hat trick in 30 minutes. And for those who thought that Brighton were good, they did have the chances, but both the goals came through Robert Sanchez's errors. So it was basically Cole Palmer versus Robert Sanchez for Chelsea. But Rohit, go ahead. Cole Palmer.
Yeah. I think, yeah, Cole Palmer was obviously the superstar of this game, right? But like you said, it was very interesting what Brighton were trying to do. They were trying to press high, like super high. And the two goals that they did score is because of their high pressing, right? They forced Sanchez into making some pretty stupid errors. But, as a result of that, Brighton had to play an extremely high line. And high line that was almost as high as the center line, right? The problem with that is their center backs, I think Adam Webster and Lewis Dunk, they're not the quickest, right?
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
pretty slow. And because of such a high line, Chelsea kept, behind them again and again and again. And like you said, 4 goals from Cole Palmer in the first half. It could have been more than that, but basically it was a barnstormer of a first half. I mean, I had my heart, kind of pumping pretty hard. But I think overall, Cole Palmer has shown his class last season as well. This season, again, he's on top of the goals plus assist charts. I think this is one of those rare cases where Chelsea's transfer department has struck gold, right? We got him for about 40 million. He's easily worth like upwards of 100 million right now because of his performances. But I think a couple other things that I also liked about that, apart from Cole Palmer's obvious brilliance, was Jadon Sancho. We
Mm.
got him from Man United. Again, this is one of those money ball signings, right? Somebody who's out of favor, somebody who, they're saying is past state, he has mental issues, so on and so forth. But he's come on and he's given 3 assists in 3 games. I think the first since Cesc Fabregas or Eden Hazard or something like that. So even in this game, he assisted Cole Palmer for his fourth goal, right? So Chelsea seem to be turning a corner. We are in the top four after what seems like ages. So I think that was great. And I don't know if you saw this, it was funny. Of course, Cole Palmer got the match ball, right? And Romeo Lavia, who's a friend of his from back in the Man City Academy days, basically while signing, he wrote a message on the ball, and the message read, "You're a mid player regardless," right? So basically, banter, 4 goals and a mid player. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think things bode well for Chelsea, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think every club would love a mid player like Cole Palmer in the side. So just some stats to end this segment. Palmer's got the most Premier League assists since the start of last season. He's only tied with a surprise name, I would say, Ollie Watkins. Very, very interesting. And the other interesting thing is that, as you said, he's got the most goals plus assists since the Premier League started last season. He's one ahead of Erling Haaland with 43 goals and assists. He has more goal contributions for Chelsea than PL appearances for them. Just shows how
Yep.
good he has been. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the other one, Palmer now has the same number of PL hat tricks. Uh, and he's tied on the top with Didier Drogba, Frank Lampard, and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. And he's done it only in 30 appearances. So,
That's crazy.
Cole Gold Palmer, I think, is what he should be called now. He's just too good. Moving on, we got to talk about my club now. Liverpool, top of the table. Woohoo!
Top of the league.
Top of the league. It's early days. It's only 6 games. So this is a weird stat that came out that we are the first team to win 5 games. Well, obviously, duh, because every other team has drawn or lost or whatever. Uh, but this wasn't an easy game as some people might have expected because Wolves were very good in the first 30-35 minutes. Uh, Fine, they didn't test Allison as much as we thought that it could have been, but we were all over the place. I don't know what was happening. There was no control. And then we started getting into the game after the 35th minute. Jota with a beautiful cross, and Konate scored a beautiful header. And you go into the lead, halftime with the lead. You should be confident. You should be happy. Second half starts. We're doing really well. There was this great chance that Soboslai missed also in the first half. And then inexplicably, Konate decides, or I don't know, there's so much miscommunication between Konate and Allison. I don't know what happens. And when there is in like the defender is not making a decision, the opposition will take the chance. That's what Wolves did. There was a bit of a fracas in the end to get the goal in, right? I think the left back scored for them, yeah. And
Yep,
I thought
at
that
Moody.
this was actually, and I thought that this was the time that Wolves will capitalize, put us under more pressure, and get that second goal. But lo and behold, this is why Wolves are in the position that they are in. Literally, the next phase, Mohamed Salah is pulled down into in the box by Nelson Semedo. He had his hand around the neck and all. So Salah, I think so. It was Jota who was pulled down. Yeah, it was Jota pulled down. Salah steps up, smacks the ball into the net, and we managed the game after that. I would have preferred us to get a second, a third, or a fourth goal, just to ease it. But I think it's an okay performance. It should have been better, but really can't complain much because, well, we're on top of the league.
I think Semedo reminds me of Emerson Royal a lot, right? Very, very error prone. I think both of them came from Barcelona.
Barcelona,
I don't
yeah.
know. Yeah, I don't know what it is. They get all these like right backs who are error prone. Yeah, I think you guys are top of the league. You said it's early days, but I think Slot having just joined this summer, it bodes well for you guys. The fact that so much was made about the number six position, and that doesn't seem to be an issue at all.
Yeah, no. So Ryan Gravenberg, again, another exceptional game. I think he's been the player of the season for us so far. I know, again, it's early days and we haven't really faced the toughest of teams. But this was a stat that was thrown up from that game. Ryan Gravenberg was the first Premier League midfielder to contest more than 5 duels in a match with 100% success. Eight,
Wow.
make 3+ tackles with 100% success, make 50+ passes with 90% accuracy since Sandro for Spurs did in April 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, so he keeps breaking these records and he's a utility man. He can almost do everything. But
Yeah.
the other player that deserves a lot of praise is Konate because he scored a beautiful header against AC Milan and he did this. But then he showed that, there is a bit of inexperience in his play also. There was a really funny bit where he was talking to Gravenberg after the match and Gravenberg was given the man of the match award and Ibu Konate was like, why can't I get it? I scored a goal, I scored a goal, I scored a goal. And then Anish Slot was asked about this. And I like this from Anish Slot. It's like he does not let things pass. So he was quick to say that, yeah, but we also conceded the goal because of you. So how could
Oh,
you get the
wow.
man? Yeah, he says that openly.
Smart.
And yeah, and the really weird thing about Anish Slot is that he has not forgotten that loss to Forest. He brings it up every
Mm,
single time he can. And he's always
mm,
been open and said, we have well, he's, somehow said it. He's not openly said it, but he said that, we've had a favorable run of fixtures. I mean, apart from the AC Milan game, the other matches haven't been that difficult regarding the opposition on paper. So the next set of fixtures are going to be really tough because we've got a really good, uh, really difficult run with I think Villa and Chelsea, and also that will be the real test for Slot. But right now, things are looking good. Liverpool on top,
mm.
and Liverpool were on top thanks to a draw for Manchester City. Uh, I don't think a lot of us saw this coming because the stats that we spoke about before the game all favored City. Like Newcastle were basically the team that is spanked for fun. And they didn't have Rodri. I think that's a huge talking point. This will obviously be the point of discussion for a lot of people that, without Rodri, City can't win. But City were doing
Hmm.
okay. No, sorry, Newcastle were actually doing better in the first half. I think they had some good chances, but then City, lo and behold, scored through Guardiola with a beautiful finish for a left back or a centre back. And then you think that, well, this is going to be another game for City. They'll score the second, the third. But that did not happen. Haaland did not score for once. Wow. And
Yep.
that goal by Anthony Gordon was a penalty, but he ran right through the middle of the City defense mostly. And he was pulled down by Edison, brought down by Edison, maybe a little bit too. I'm not sure if there was a lot of contact, but fine. It is a penalty, and Newcastle scored, and that's how it ended 1-1. So is there a problem for Manchester City? Do they miss Rodri? They also miss, I think, Kevin De Bruyne. So is
Yeah.
there other problems for City? Will they fall off
I
quite a
think
lot?
so, right? Because apart from the Rodri situation, they also got rid of Julian Alvarez,
Mm.
right? And he who got a lot of crucial goal involvements, right? Either goals or assists over the last couple of seasons. And I don't think they've really replaced his kind of cutting edge. He went to Atletico Madrid. So I think, this season Man City might find it a little difficult. Especially, I'm assuming Haaland is not going to score 3 goals every match like he didn't in this particular game. So it's going to be interesting, especially against some of the better center backs in the league to see what ends up happening with City.
Yeah, so City, I don't know. It's very strange because they let go of Alvarez, as you rightly said, right? But they should have enough firepower to win matches. Uh, I think the Rodri and De Bruyne also not being there is really hurting them. Rodri's gone, so they really need to do something. Maybe bring someone in. I don't know in January, but De Bruyne needs to be back soon. Uh, because without him, I think they'll struggle a lot. So it is to be seen what happens with City. Arsenal are the next team that we'll talk about, and they cut down the gap to the top of the table with the win, a last second goal again from a corner routine, as we have spoken about so many times. 3-2 over Leicester. But I wanted to
4-2 actually.
oh, sorry, 4-2. Yeah, sorry. The fourth goal
Yeah,
came in late into injury time. Sorry.
late.
Uh, but I really wanted to talk about the second Leicester goal by Justin. I think that's a goal
Mhm.
of the season. It's just beautiful. That ball is coming in from the left, and you can see he's lining his body up, and you just wish that he makes the perfect contact, and he did. He just smacks it, and it goes off the post. And when it became 2-2, right, I actually thought that, this is going to end 2-2, or maybe Leicester might win it because they were in the
Yeah.
ascendancy. But Arsenal showed their title credentials, if you might add. Leandro Trossard hasn't been given the goal, but he was responsible for shooting the ball back into uh, the group of players in front of the goal, which led to the third goal, and then yeah, the fourth goal. So take it away, Dom.
Yeah, I think my takeaway from that initially was Leicester City is doing pretty well, right? Although they lost at the end of it, they almost went toe to toe till the 97th minute, right? So I think they'll do pretty well if they can get some results from some of the lesser opposition. But for a second there, I was scared for Arsenal, but they got it over the line again, and they've seemed to have gotten into a bit of a habit of doing that, right? Utilizing all of these last minute, corners and free kicks and so on and so forth. And I think Havertz got the fourth goal as well, but
Oh,
the ball kind of hit him and went into the net rather than him doing anything about it. So I think that was kind of funny. He also got on the score sheet in the most funniest way possible. But I think, yeah, the obviously the title race is heating up. I love
yeah.
the fact that Liverpool are in the title race officially, right, top of the table. But I think Arsenal are probably going to pit Man City at least. Let's see what happens with Liverpool.
Yeah, so I still think that Liverpool will finish third, but it's good that a lot of pundits are playing down our chances. I think it's better to be the underdog in all this because you've seen pressure gets to Arsenal and they do collapse at the end of the season. Funny thing was when Arsenal went into the half, I think they were 2-0 up. And a lot of us thought that this is going to be a 4-5-0 game for them because they haven't been the best since their return. But Leicester scored right after the break, and Arsenal looked very vulnerable. I think this is something that maybe other teams can look at. Is that they looked vulnerable. You can go at them. Sure, maybe you can't take on Saliba and Gabriel one on one, but there are other avenues for you to attack. And again, it was a last minute goal that they needed to get the win. But again, this will be a very moral boosting win for Arsenal, especially given what happened
Yeah.
against City. This is what they needed. Just get the win and then move on. And obviously, now we got to talk about the big talking point. I think we should have a segment on this all alone, but Erik Ten Hag, I think he's a dead man walking. Although Manchester United
Will
have
be.
given him the dreaded vote of confidence today, which means absolutely nothing in football. Well, so Rohit, you take it first, and then I'll have my thoughts on it because there's a lot of things I want to talk.
Yeah, I think that vote of confidence is probably coming from a position of helplessness, right? Because right now, the team that they've assembled is a Erik Ten Hag team, start to finish. Basically, Ajax and Dutch players all over the pitch, and they've invested large sums of money on these players, right? So I think the problem might be that if you get a new manager and the new manager comes in and says, "Hey, okay, this guy you got is not good enough. Get me a new center back, or get me a new central midfielder, or get me a new attacker," that's going to be a big issue because you obviously have to pay off Ten Hag to terminate his contract. Somebody new comes in and they're like, "Hey, what kind of team have you assembled?" So I think that's where that vote of confidence is coming from. Otherwise, I don't really see, why would they give him a vote of confidence? They are like already 8 points off the top of the table, two humiliating losses against two big rivals this season already. It's not like he hasn't had time. This is, I don't know, his third, fourth season. He's got all the signings that he wanted. I mean, what more, will he do with the team?
Yeah, so I was just checking out the stats and I sent you an image, right? Yeah. So the major signings that United have had since Erik Ten Hag, they've spent 616 million pounds
Hmm.
under him. Anthony for 85 million, Rasmus Højlund 72 million, Casemiro 70 million, Mason Mount 60, Lenny Euro 59, Lisandro Martinez 56, Ugarte, who struggled yesterday 50, but then most United players did. Onana 47 million, Matthias De Ligt struggled 42 million, Xerxes 30 million, Mazraoui 17 million, and Tyrell Malacia 14 million. And I think the best player that they got from this is Christian Eriksen, who came on a free. This
Yeah,
is
true.
terrible. Uh, I mean, the stats. When you talk about stats, they often, don't show you the entire picture. But the stats are completely against United in all this. Like no team in the Premier League has scored fewer goals at home this season than United. They've scored one. Luis Diaz has more
Wow.
more goals at Old Trafford than Manchester United, which is crazy.
Wow.
And then I don't know what this is an incredible stat. Most chances created at Old Trafford in the Premier League this season. Number one is Dejan Kulusevski with 9. He played one game. Spurs could have scored 6 or 7. And the weird part is a lot of people have said that, Manchester United were terrible in the first half and throughout the game. Spurs were just as bad because they kept on giving the ball away as well. Uh,
Hmm.
it was like two teams who didn't want to score at one point, and then Spurs only got the goal later on. The first goal obviously was terrible to concede as well because you can't allow somebody like a Mickey Van der Ven to run from his own half, deep in his half, right to
Yeah.
the end of the penalty area. I don't know. Somebody just bring him down. It's early in the game. Uh, I don't. And then the Bruno Fernandes red card. Now, I don't think that was a red card. It was a yellow. I know he was a little high, but he didn't make that kind of contact with James Madison. And Madison was also up fairly quickly. I think I don't know what the referees do these days because they didn't give Lisandro Martinez that red card when he jumped 2 foot
Yeah.
with his 2 feet. And this one they gave a red card. It's so inconsistent. And this was Bruno
Yeah,
Fernandes's
absolutely.
sorry, this was Bruno Fernandes's first red card for United, which is a surprise because you would think that he would have been sent off more times for all the whining he does.
Yeah. Definitely, right? The red card was, a bit of a very light one, right? I don't think it should have been a red card, but regardless, I think they were still being outplayed before that, right? I think that might save Ten Hag, right? He might use that as an excuse, like, "Hey, a red card unfairly given against me. Give me another season," right? That's good for us, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think every opposition fan wants Ten Hag to stay because at least maybe not for you, but during my school days, United and Chelsea were the two teams that dominated,
Mhm.
and Liverpool were the underdogs, and we would always, banter. There was nothing to banter about. If we won against United, that was a big deal. But right now, winning against United is not a big deal anymore. It's like it's expected, right? And really, I really don't know what Manchester United can do. So we were talking about, United maybe uh, turning over or this is a new phase for them because they signed Xerxes and they signed the Lit and they signed Mazraoui and these are all young players or at least players who could come into the prime and maybe this is a good sign for them. But Xerxes has looked terrible since coming. He just does not fit into the system. I don't know what Hoyland does either. Um, the only positives I see for United are Ahmad Diallo and the guy on the left, uh, Garnacho. So
Garnacho, yeah.
yeah, so Casemiro's gone, like he's finished. The defense delight was supposed to be somebody who fixes it, but obviously he's not the one either. where do they go? Onana doesn't know how to save goals also because his positioning in some of the chances is terrible as well. Although he did make some good saves, but where does Manchester? I mean, what can they do? Like it's not like FIFA, right? Where you can just delete the club and start all over again or start a new season. This is gonna take a long, long time to fix.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of metrics they have that they're tracking that is giving them confidence in Erik Ten Hag. Clearly not the ones that we are seeing, right? But I don't know what's going to happen. I think there were some rumors about Gareth Southgate or Thomas Tuchel,
So,
being options, but clearly not at the moment. But I really think that, they need to turn a page. There's no point kind of belaboring the Ten Hag tenure anymore. It's basically coming to an end.
yeah. So Rome wasn't built in a day, but that's something that maybe Ten Hag can use or something. I don't know. Getting Gareth Southgate in will be something terrible as well because of his brand of football. So he didn't play Cole Palmer in the Euros. How? How? It's shocking. The funny thing is, if you bring somebody like a Thomas Tuchel in, he's gonna fight with the board every single day. He expects
Mhm.
his team to do a lot of stuff, and then you got the ex-Bayern players who ran away from Tuchel, and they're back under
Yeah.
him. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
A
Crazy.
big mess. No point about that, right?
No,
I think you made a good point about Onana, right? When I think about all of their players, all these big money signings, every single one of them has like a big chink in their armor, right? They have a big weakness, right? Which is kind of so weird. You can understand if, one or two players have it, but all over the pitch, you have players who have, very obvious weaknesses. Even Ugarte, their kind of
no.
new defensive midfielder. I mean, there's a reason why PSG got rid of him and upgraded with I think Joao Neves. Yeah.
I think we'll have a lot of discussions about United in the coming days, especially if results keep disappointing the United fans. So we'll see. But I think Eric Ten Hag's time is out, and our time is out as well. So
Mhm.
thanks for watching. Do share, like, and subscribe to our videos. Do drop your comments in. Does Eric Ten Hag deserve more time? Is he a victim of, I don't know, his own success? I don't know. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, I just don't know. So let us know. And until next time, bye bye.
Bye bye.